Good morning or good afternoon, children. It's Miss Payne here. At the moment, we're not able to get together for our usual assemblies, so I've prepared something that you can share in your classrooms instead. Today's assembly is all about the theme of remembrance. At the moment, I'm sure you've seen lots of people around wearing their red poppy. So my assembly today is all about why we wear a poppy and the importance of it.
So why do we wear poppies? The reason poppies are used to remember those who have given their lives in war is because they are the flowers which grew on the battlefields after World War I ended. And this was described in a very famous World War I poem called In Flanders Fields. Ever since that time, they've come to be a symbol of remembering not just those who gave their lives in that war, but also those who have given their lives in wars afterwards. The money raised from the selling of poppies is used to help soldiers who are still alive and those who need help. It also helps veterans who might need to find new jobs or somewhere to live or any other support they may need. It's also used to help those who have lost loved ones because of wars. So where did selling poppies start? The Royal British Legion was founded in May 1921. However, back then, poppies weren't made out of paper like they are today. They were made out of silk. They sold out straight away and raised more than £106,000 for those whose lives had been affected by the war by helping to find them jobs and somewhere to live once they were no longer in the army. In 1922, a factory was set up where former soldiers were employed to make the poppies. This factory is still running and producing millions of poppies each year. While the majority of people wear their poppy on their chest, there is no right or wrong way to wear one. And the British Legion always says, we only ask you to wear it with pride. Many people choose to wear a poppy in November for Remembrance Day to show respect for the people who died fighting in the First World War. But there are other coloured poppies too, purple, black and white, that have different meanings. What does the red poppy mean? Well, the red poppy is the most famous symbol used to remember those who gave their lives in World War I and wars that have followed. Wearing a poppy was originally inspired by the fields of poppies that grew where many of the battles were fought. We also have the black poppy. The black poppy has two different meanings attached to it. It is most commonly associated with remembering Black, African and Caribbean communities' contribution to the war effort as servicemen, women and as civilians. Then we have the white poppy. Some people choose to wear a white poppy instead of a red poppy because they believe that it promotes peace. Finally, we have the purple poppy. The purple poppy is often worn to remember animals that have taken part in war. Animals like horses, dogs and pigeons were often used in the war effort, and those that wear the purple poppy feel their service should be seen as equal to that of humans. Our story today is called Stubby, a true story of friendship by Michael Foreman. It's hard work being a soldier, marching every day, getting ready to go to war, but I'm told my country needs me. The war is far away, the other side of the ocean, but soon we will have to cross the ocean and help to win it. We are woken up early every morning by a bugle for yet another day of marching practice. The smell of cooking seems to attract all the stray dogs from miles around. One dog in particular seems to find me every time I settle down to my sausage and mash. He is an odd little dog with a flat face and short legs. I decide to call him Stubby. Now Stubby follows me everywhere. The other soldiers laugh when they see him marching along beside us. I teach him to sit up for his food and sit up and salute when he sees an officer. The officers like him too. Stubby seems like one of us now. I know I will miss him when we go off to war. Well, that day has arrived. We march to the train station and begin to climb aboard. Stubby has marched with us, of course, and he looks up into my eyes. I can't resist picking him up to hug him goodbye. One of the officers smiles and gives me a wink. I pop Stubby into the carriage with the other men, and Stubby gives the officer a salute. At first, Stubby seems alarmed by the rattle of the train and the countryside whooshing past the windows, but we share our food with him and he begins to enjoy himself. The troop ship is huge and towers over us as we begin to board. I wrap Stubby in a blanket and a group of us smuggle him onto the ship. When the ship is well out to sea, I take Stubby out onto the deck. The sailors now think Stubby is the official mascot of our regiment, and I teach him to salute the ship's officers. Stubby loves standing right at the bow of the ship to feel the wind through his whiskers. After many days at sea, we see land on the distant horizon. I feel a mixture of relief and fear. Relief to see dry land at last, but fear because the land is at war. Things are getting serious. We have changed our soft hats for steel helmets. Soon we are marching again through towns and villages, cheered on by the local people. Stubby always gets the loudest cheers, especially from the children, and he is never short of something tasty to eat. After 2 days of marching, we finally arrive. The villages here are deserted and in ruins. Now we are living in a world of mud, stuck in the trenches for weeks, slowly moving forward. Dogs can hear better than humans, so Stubby becomes an excellent guard dog, warning us of approaching enemy soldiers. One night, he finds an enemy soldier spying on us, catches him by the seat of his trousers and won't let him go. At night, we try to sleep in the muddy trenches. It is cold and Stubby and I snuggle to get warm. At dawn, an officer blows the whistle and we climb out of the safety of our trench and charge. I tell Stubby to stay safe in the trench, but he follows me anyway. A deafening bang and a flash knock me off my feet. The whole world seems to turn over. I see Stubby flying up in the air. I crawl towards him. He is covered in mud. I'm sorry, old friend. I'm sorry I brought you to this stupid war. I wrap him up in my jacket and carry him back to our trench. The doctors take him gently from me and bandage him up just like the other soldiers. He is placed into an ambulance with the others and taken away. Will I ever see him again? We hear he has been very popular in the hospital, limping around between the beds, saluting all the wounded soldiers. After 6 long weeks of fighting, we are all cheered up by the return of Stubby. Some of the local ladies make Stubby an army jacket, complete with badges and medals, with his name stitched into it. He looks so smart that even the officers salute him. At the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month, peace is declared. The war is over. Soldiers from both sides lay down their guns and climb out of their trenches. This time, we don't need to hide Stubby when we climb aboard the troop ship to cross the ocean. He is a hero. When we get back home, Stubby is given a position of honour at the front of the Great Victory Parade. Bands are playing and the streets are crowded with thousands of people waving flags and cheering. Peace is wonderful, but peace and quiet will be even better. I'm so thankful this little stray dog found me. Here is a picture of the real-life Stubby that the story is based on. As we come to the end of our assembly for today, and as we watch the video at the end, let us be thankful to all of those brave men, women, and animals.
Hello, Simon on CBeebies Radio here, and I'm going to read you a very special story. It's called Poppy's Day. It's all about how important it is to remember, not just things, but people too. Hope you like it. All done, said Mr. Fisher the dentist. Poppy, your teeth are in tip-top condition and I didn't bite you once, said Poppy proudly. Last time the funny smells had scared her and she had nipped his finger. You've been very brave, said Mr. Fisher, and he gave Poppy a sticker. It said, I've been to the dentist, and she proudly stuck the sticker on her chest. Then Poppy's mum smiled. I think Mr. Fisher was the brave one, putting his fingers in your mouth, and they all laughed. Walking in the sunshine, Poppy puffed out her chest so everyone could see her sticker on her coat. Then, waiting at the bus stop, looking at the people passing by, Poppy noticed that some of them had things on their coats too. Not stickers, but flowers. Red flowers made of paper with a green leaf and a black button in the middle. Soon the bus arrived, and as Poppy and her mum got onto the bus, Poppy noticed the little red flower the lady bus driver was wearing. The bus driver smiled at Poppy when she saw her sticker and asked, Have you been to the dentist? Poppy gave the bus driver her biggest smile and stuck out her chest to show off the sticker. Then she pointed at the red flower and asked the bus driver, What's that? Oh, you mean this? The bus driver touched the red flower on her uniform. This is for Poppy Day. Then the doors closed behind them and the bus pulled away. Poppy Day, she thought. Was that like her birthday? Poppy liked her birthday. It made her feel very special. Her mum hadn't said anything about Poppy's Day. Maybe it was a surprise. That made her feel very, very special, and she smiled even wider than before. Poppy was still smiling when her dad asked her about her visit to the dentist. Poppy showed him her sticker. The dentist said I was very brave, she said. Then she checked that her mum wasn't listening and whispered, I know about Poppy's Day. Daddy chuckled, Do you? Yes, but I don't know when it is. Oh, her daddy said loudly, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Shh, said Poppy as her mum came back into the room. Poppy didn't know what Daddy meant, but it sounded very important and made her feel very, very, very special and very excited indeed. So when Granny came to babysit a few days later, Poppy saw the red flower on her coat. She asked, When's my day? Your day? Poppy's Day, she said. Granny scooped her into her arms. Remembrance Sunday, my darling. We call it Poppy Day because of me, Poppy asked. Granny laughed. No, these poppies. Granny gave Poppy the red flower to look at. She moved the paper leaf up and down. Granny said, We wear them to remember. Me, interrupted Poppy excitedly. Granny kissed her. No, these poppies to remember all the people who died in wars. Poppy didn't understand. So when Granny tucked her into bed later that evening, she asked her to explain. So Granny told her, a long time ago, all the countries stopped being friends. So to keep everyone at home safe, lots of people had to go away and fight battles in a big war. Soldiers, sailors, pilots, and lots of other people too. They had a terrible time, but they all had to be very brave. So when the war was over, everyone was thankful and promised they would never forget those soldiers, sailors and pilots. And all their names are carved on big war memorials around the country, just like the one in the town centre. And every year we wear poppies and go in a big parade to the war memorial. Poppy liked parades, remembering the carnival parade she had been to when everyone dressed in bright costumes and danced in the street. Soon, she began to drift off to sleep, wondering if the big parade would be the same. The next morning, the first thing Poppy asked was, Can we go to the Poppy parade, please? She asked again when she was eating her breakfast, and on the way to the nursery, and in the cafe on the way home. But her mum said, It's not really for little girls, you know. Just a lot of people marching to the band and standing quietly. I can march, she said. But Poppy stomped so loudly she made the teacups rattle on the table. And you must stand in silence for 2 minutes, said her mum. Poppy held her arms like when she played musical statues and closed her mouth. For good measure, she held her breath. Mum sipped her tea. Poppy's arms grew heavy and she felt a pressure in her chest. Then her legs itched and her eyes bulged. Phew! Poppy couldn't hold her breath any longer and gulped for air. That was 10 seconds, said her mum. When Granny next babysat, Poppy sadly told her, Mummy says I'll never be quiet for 2 minutes. Granny agreed that wriggling and fidgeting were big no-nos. But the twinkle in Granny's eyes gave Poppy hope. You can always practice. So she did. At the bus stop, Poppy stood with her arms by her side and didn't move until the bus came. Then in the supermarket, she never said a word, even when Dad asked her what vegetables she would like. She just pointed at the sweet corn. And even when he picked up a cabbage for tea, she didn't say anything. Then one Sunday morning, Granny came round and gave Poppy her own red poppy flower. They were going to the parade. But as Mummy pinned the flower on Poppy's coat, she pulled off the sticker the dentist had given her. Poppy moaned, but Mum said it was too tatty for the parade, so Poppy put the sticker in her pocket. There were lots of people in the town centre, all waiting for the parade to start. Poppy wriggled and pointed at the writing on the war memorial. "What's that?" she asked. "Those are the names of all the brave people we're remembering," Granny said. Poppy fidgeted and looked around. Some people also had other things on their coats. Shiny coins with bright-coloured ribbons. "What are those?" she asked. "She'll never be quiet for 2 minutes," groaned Mum. But Granny explained that the shiny coins were medals. Special rewards for being brave. Poppy felt the sticker in her pocket that the dentist had given her and stuck it back on her coat. Then she heard drums and trumpets as a brass band led men and women, soldiers, sailors and pilots, and even boys and girls in uniforms down the street. Some of them laid rings of poppies on the war memorial steps and saluted. Then everyone sang a song. The tune made Poppy feel sad, and she saw that Granny's eyes were watering. She slipped her hand into Granny's. Granny smiled. "Remembering is much easier when you have a hand to hold," she whispered. Then a girl began to play a sad, slow tune on her bright and shiny bugle. It looked a little like a trumpet. When she finished, Granny squeezed Poppy's hand, and she knew it was time. The whole town centre was still and silent. Poppy's legs itched, but she kept looking at the names on the war memorial and thought about all those people being brave. Then the girl started playing again. More people laid flowers and little crosses on the steps. "They are saying their own thank yous," Granny explained. Poppy waited until everyone else had gone home and the last thank you had been said. Then she let go of Granny's hand and ran over to the war memorial. "Poppy!" Mum called out, sounding a little annoyed. But Poppy was busy looking at all the flowers. There didn't seem to be enough for all the names on the war memorial. She felt the sticker on her chest and pulled it off. It was still a bit sticky, so she stuck it on top of her poppy flower. Then she laid her poppy with the sticker on the steps of the memorial and thought to herself, "You have all been very brave." The list of names seemed to go on and on and on. Poppy felt very sad when suddenly her granny's soft, comforting hand took hers, and she gently whispered, "I think this is Poppy's day after all." And they both stood silently, remembering.
You can